Hello and welcome to Cali Legends Media. I was driving around and I found this nice shade tree, man. So I decided to pull up right here and cut this video real quick. Before I get started, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers. I really do appreciate you. It's not just something I say at the beginning of my videos. I really do. Thank you very much for joining the channel, and I hope that you continue to enjoy the videos. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about something that probably doesn't affect most of my viewers. Why? Because they show us the age range of our viewers and stuff. They even show like what time you guys watch and stuff. There's a lot of different statistics that they show us as content creators. And I know that most of my viewers, they're mature men in their 30s to 40s, 50s, 60s even. So it's a video that is coming off of a video that a young man made. His channel is called Breaking the Cycle by Slugs. Go check out his channel. He has a good channel. He's especially on top of everything that goes on in Mexico. He lives up there, but he's also familiar with down here up north. But like this deal with this kid that escaped from Delano, ended up over there in Mexico. He was on top of all that. He lives up there. He has a donut shop up there. Anyways, go check him out. So he made a comment the other day, and this video is, it's not like I'm attacking him or anything. This is just kind of a little response to something that he said that I want to address, okay? And what it is it was a comment that basically pointed out that having a prison record, or how did he put it? Like being a pinto, a level 4 pinto, or because you've been to the joiner, it doesn't mean nothing. You know, that's nothing, you know. Excuse me. And it's true for the most part. Why? You can't even admit to that out here to get employed. You know, you have to lie about that and say, you know, that you've never been arrested, you don't have a criminal record, and hopefully they don't check. So yeah, it's actually a horrible thing when it comes to getting employment. And of course, going to prison is just all bad. There's very little to say about it that you could say is positive. But I am going to mention some today, a few positive aspects about people that have spent time in the joint. You know, it does count for something, and you do learn something while you're in there. Things that other men don't learn. Things that people say, normal people that don't go to prison, people that have not been incarcerated at that level, they'll never learn these things or experience some of the things that guys that have gone through the system have experienced and learned. I think one of the main things that I experienced, and it happened to me on a bus ride. Okay, I don't know if I was going back from court headed to the county, or I was going from the county headed to the prison. But anyways, I'm on a bus and I'm looking out the cars, and it's early in the morning, and there's people in their cars going to work. You know, there's you know, a truckload of men with their uniforms on and their hats from their jale, you know, and people taking their kids to school. You know, mom's driving a carload of kids, you know, probably hers and the neighbors, or however it worked out. But I'd look out and I'd watch them doing a normal life, you know. And going and being incarcerated gave me a yearning, okay? Gave me a desire to be normal and not be doing the things that I was doing, not only in the street, but going to jail all the time, you know, and being locked up different spells, which interrupted my life completely and really didn't do me any good at all, except give me that yearning to do better, you know. Yet when I was in the street, I'd have no desire like that. I didn't yearn for that normalcy because I was too busy with the loquera, doing my thing, getting my head twisted, going through my changes with my household, my family life, my relationship, to where sometimes I'm like, fuck it, go to the neighborhood and fuck around, for a couple of days, stuff like that. Then end up busted, and then, anyways, I ran into this experience where I found myself yearning, and then going through the same thing while I was sitting in the prison cell. I'd be watching TV, it'd be the holidays, and I'd see them showing gatherings, family gatherings, having their Christmas dinners and Thanksgiving dinners and stuff. Family getting together, they show scenes of the beach and people playing volleyball on the beach, and not being able to enjoy those things and not having the freedom, okay, gave me a yearning to somehow get a hold of that freedom and try to hang on to it, something that I never really thought about. And while incarcerated, I thought, wow, it would really be nice. Even simple things like dancing, it'd be a dance show. I think there was one called Caliente, was one of them. And, I'd see the people dancing, and I think about, wow, it'd be nice just to go out and go dancing, you know what I mean? And have a few drinks, and, it gave me a yearning, a different type of yearning, instead of just yearning to get high and mess around in the streets and not really care about where I was at that time, And besides having a 9 to 5, just having a car, being with family and enjoying nature, the ocean, the mountains and stuff, that yearning and that desire stood with me for a very long time, until finally I got a hold of it and thought, this is what I wanted. So now I gotta hold on to it. And that's why I mention a lot of times to hold on to your freedom, make good decisions and stuff at the end of the video. And for us to be careful not to go on, because we could blow our freedom in a fit of anger, right? There's other things that you learn while you're incarcerated. I remember a long time ago when people would get out of the joint, they'd be different, I'd have homeboys that would go in when they're young. They go to YA when they got out, and then from YA, they'd go to, say, Folsom, right? So they were up in Folsom with all the heavy hitters, all the big dogs, and they learned certain rules and manners and conduct that they wouldn't have learned outside in the street. And you could see it in their mannerism, and it just was a different look, a different type of a man would come out of those gates, And while you're in there, you learn a lot of things that you could even carry out here with you, bring them from in there and carry them out here into the society, like like underestimating your foes. You might see somebody, even your enemies. You learn to respect your enemies. But, you learn not to underestimate anybody, and not to really trust anybody that way, because you just really never know. People's characters could surprise you sometimes when you least expect it, and you'll find yourself in a bad place, So you kind of learn how to watch people and read people, At least I know I did, just by having a lot of encounters and people talking to me and explaining things to me, the way certain actions point to certain behaviors, Besides that, you learn a certain discipline, you get up, you get a routine to where, like, you get up in the morning, brush your teeth, wash your face, you make your bed real nice and stuff, clean up your mess, make your coffee, clean up your mess. When you use the sink, you wipe it, for the next guy. So when he comes to wash up, the sink's all nice and clean. Same thing with the toilet. And you become disciplined with that. That becomes your morning routine for years. and your Sally does the same. So you learn how to be a guest in somebody's house, maybe. Some people are not like that, man. I've had people that I try to help out and let them stay, and they leave the sink all dirty, or they wash up and there's water everywhere, and there's a little rag there to wipe it, or they'll use the restroom and leave smudges down in the bottom, and there's a brush right there, right near the toilet. You can brush it, and flush it, right? Little things that you would not catch me doing. It's just a habit. Some people, believe it or not, don't learn that growing up and not being in these types of environments. And it's little things, but nevertheless, I'm gonna give you an example. My stepson always tells his friends when he's at his friend's house or something. He has a routine that he does and stuff, and he says that he picked it up from me. Because when he was little, I'd always be, hey, go wash your face, go, did you brush your teeth? Yeah, okay, go make up your bed, And sometimes his mom would go do it for him, but still, for me always being on him, although it bugged the shit out of him, he learned to be that way. That's just the type of person he is, There's some areas that, are not as polished, but there's things that he did learn, from me, that I did learn and disciplined myself to do, And so you do learn things in there. You learn to exercise and try to keep yourself strong, not only in case you're have to encounter somebody who's trying to do something to you, but just to feel good, to be strong and feel good about yourself, So exercise is things that most people out here don't do, Although I know I got a lot of homies that still exercise. They got weights at their house, got punching bags. I seen Cholo Juan and a couple other, I think Swifty Blue, they were doing routine out next to in a backyard doing burpees and stuff, doing the cuenta and everything, I'm not saying that they always do that, but just as an example, stuff you learn in there, you come out and you do those exercises and stuff, although you have health, you have coaches, that could help you with exercise programs and stuff like PD Boy from High Power Fitness, who does that professionally, but nevertheless, you learn stuff like that when you're incarcerated, stuff that you wouldn't learn just on the nats. A lot of people wouldn't. Manners, certain manners. You bump into somebody, say excuse me, you step on somebody's feet. Hey man, sorry about that. It was an accident. Apologize. You're not careless with yourself. And a lot of that is just from being polished, from being incarcerated, from being in the joint. Yeah, some people have all that. Some people are like my Theo Jr. See, my Theo Jr. did a lot of time incarcerated. Well, not a lot. He only did like 16 years. I guess that's a lot. It started off as a death penalty, and then they took the death penalty out. They were going to do a lobotomy on him, like they were going to do on Mundo. It was a state mandated thing, and he was one of the guys picked, like Mundo, from the mob spot. And they basically drill a hole because you're too violent. They drill a hole and dumb you down by hitting a certain part of your brain, Anyways, I say that just to mention my uncle, rest in peace. To mention my uncle, rest in peace. He used to teach me things that I liked, like I was a little boy, but he would make me carry my shirts or my sweaters that I wasn't wearing over my back. He'd get them real nice, and then he'd hang them over my arm, and he says, that's the way you carry it, That's the way young men carry their shirts or their jackets. You just drape it over your arm like that, And then he was on me about my shoes, to clean my shoes or shine my shoes. He showed me how to shine shoes, how to spit shine them and really, if you don't know how to spit shine a shoe, you don't got a real shine on your shoe, man. Seriously, You don't need to use spit. You could use anything as water, as a liquid to scuff the wax on. But a spit shine is a different kind of shine. Makes it look like it's wet. Like so shiny that it looks wet. And yeah, he showed me how to do that. He learned while he was busted, because he used to shine boots and shoes in there. That's one of his hustles. Anyways, stuff like that. Stuff that either an older gentleman in your family teaches you, and if you're incarcerated, you learn while you're in there. Although it's different now. You don't get shoes. If you do, you get tennies. It's you don't have the state boots anymore. So that's changed. And shining shoes and wearing them like that. Mostly the veteranos, the older guys, shine them up like that. Another thing, your courage isn't ever tested like it's tested in prison. I don't care what anybody says. Unless you're really with the business in the street. I've had homeboys stand in the middle of an alley and shoot down the alley at dudes that were at the other end of the alley shooting at us. And these homies were just standing. I mean, you could see the bullets hitting the asphalt, and they weren't like shooting fast to get out of the way. No, they were taking their time and, trying to hit, and it blew my mind. I go, man, this dude really has that courage to stand there and take a chance on one of these things reaching him. Just takes one to ruin your day. Well, while you're in there, your courage gets challenged in a way even more than that example. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what they are. When you go in a cell with somebody, just you and him, and that door locks, okay, and you're in there, and there's nobody that could hear you, no deputies that can hear you because you're so far back on the tira, or you're somewhere up in one of the cells, and maybe there's no floor officer at the time, only the tower, and you guys are in there getting busy, man, trying to take each other's breath away. That's a whole different type of battle. It takes a whole different type of courage to go and lock it up with somebody in their cell or your cell, and get busy with pieces of steel, and trying to hit these parts of the body that'll take your take your win. Even riots, man. You've heard people say it, man. Riots can be frightening, especially, you have to be in one to understand. You have to see the canisters hitting the ground, smoke everywhere. Everybody's getting busy. There's the Huras are yelling. They're fucking people up with those little batons, and all kinds of shit going on all around you, man. People are dropping, bloody mess, and then you hear the Mini 14 going off, and if you've never been in that situation, man, your courage hasn't been tested at that level, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. But those little examples there can be very deadly. Even these guys that they say it's called put in work, on somebody. They say they do a removal, or somebody needs to get dealt with because of their charges or whatever. To do that, it's different now. Before, there was a lot of blind spots and stuff where you could go and you could do it real quick and try to get away. Now it's done in front of God and everybody, and they're shooting at you with that black gun. That black gun hurts. I got hit with the black gun on my back, man. I had a bruise about that big, and yeah, anyways, it's no joke. Your courage is tested, and you are put through the fire. So anybody says that, oh yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Your time in prison doesn't mean. Yeah, it does. You get a certain level of you could say respect, because you survived that. You were able to go in there and do that and hold your mud and make it through and come out, and you never take the easy way out. You went through it and paroled. A lot of people, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna call it. You take the easy way out. That's what it is. Rather than just face it head on and either lose your life or take a life, you rather just preserve your life and seek protection. That's a whole different thing than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about going through it, and living through it and dealing with it, and if you didn't do that and you haven't been through these things that I'm talking about, you can't say that it means nothing to nobody or anything. These types of men are given a certain amount of respect from their family members. Their family members understand that they were incarcerated and have basically been through hell. They've been it's some bad shit. Compared to a normal life. A life of normalcy and family and love and security and freedom. Yeah, it's a life-changing experience. Some people, it changes them. I've seen them go in and come out, and they're different when they come out. They're it affects everybody. Anyways, I just wanted to speak up on that because wasn't the first person that mentioned it. I've heard other people say, like, yeah, they're always mentioning about their time in prison or whatever. Well, maybe sometimes they just mention it just to let you know that they know what they're talking about. They've been through it. And if you know what they've been through and some of the things that they faced, in order to go through it and get out in good standing, I think that says a lot more about a person than one that takes the easy exit. I don't care what anybody says. I give my props to everybody that has done that and was able to get through that and is out here free now. And especially if they're out here free now, embracing their freedom and their family and their loved ones, and they're doing the damn thing. After going through all that, man, I give even more credit to. Let's hang on to our freedom, man, and stay free, and watch the things that we do and say, so that we don't get caught up in some bullshit, where we have to make a decision. And who knows? If you're angry, you might make a bad decision, might end up right back in this place that I just touched on. Practicing that discipline and doing those exercise and that courage being ran through the gauntlet again, man. It's nothing nice, man. If you've never been, don't ever be, man. Trust me. It's there's nothing to it. It's all bad. And I would guarantee that anybody who's sitting back there behind those walls, they would love to trade places with me. Even though I don't have everything that I wish I had, and I'm not living the life that I wish I could live, due to finances or whatever, they would still want to trade places with me rather than being there, unless they're making tens of thousands of dollars, which I guess some of them do. I don't know. But even then, I would, freedom's priceless, man. Freedom's priceless. It's a beautiful thing. So let's hang on to it, people, so we can be out here with our families and our loved ones. God bless you. God bless your families. Thank you for watching this video. If you're still with me, go ahead and smash that like button. It would be highly appreciated, so we just support the channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and set that notification bell on all, so you'll be notified whenever we drop a new video. And there's a whole bunch of videos that you could go back and watch. You go to channel, and you click on channel, and all the videos are there. I think there's over 200 of them. And if you decide to watch them, or join or don't join, but you watch them, I hope you enjoy them. Leave a comment and smash that like button. Let me know what you guys think about this video. You know, what you think about the things that I said, and let me know what your opinion is. I'm really interested. When you guys give me opinions about stuff like this, it really tells me a lot about my audience and who you are, you know. And I remember a lot of yous, you know, I pay attention to your comments, and when I see you again on my comments, I remember you. I remember, oh, he's the guy that said this, and it gives me an idea how your thinking is and stuff, and it helps me to address you or you know, to explain myself. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hope to see you on the next video. God bless you, man.